to stay in business that long, you have to be good at what you do. And the Lund Mortgage team is not just good, they are great. They have helped thousands of people save thousands of dollars over those 25 years here in the Valley of the Sun. They only lend in Arizona, and they're mortgage brokers, which means they can shop your rate around. They're not tied to just one set of rates. Mortgage rates can get crazy. They can get high. They can get low. There's good times to strike, and there's times to stay on the sideline. Let the Lund Mortgage team be your coach, be your team leader when it comes to these huge decisions. Call 623-875-9940. That's 623-875-9940, or you can always check them out at lundmortgage.com. Great website with all the tools you need. Call them today. They're my great friends, and you'll love them. It's the Lund Mortgage team.
Let's play Bet Your Life. It's the game show where you gamble not only your life, but those of your passengers and fellow drivers when you get behind the wheel after drinking.
If only it was just a game. It only takes one bad decision to change your life forever. Getting behind the wheel after you've been drinking is one of them. Don't play games that nobody can win. Drive sober or get pulled over. This message brought to you by NHTSA.
KQFN Tempe. Also transmitting on K257CD Phoenix at 99.3 FM and K240 EU Mountain Hills at 95.9 FM. Wherever you go, take us along. Listen to our live stream on our free Fanatic app. Download it today.
And welcome back to Beat the Book here on a Friday afternoon. My name is Keon Rose. Alongside me is our betting expert, Dylan Cohen. We are broadcasting live from the Harmon Solar Studios in sunny uptown Scottsdale. And today on the show, Beat the Book. Last night, I think, kind of got suckered into NFL props that everybody else did because, my God, that game was worse than we all thought it would be. But crushed it in NBA, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. We'll get to some college football picks. Segment 2, we've got Alex Kane of Sport Trade joining us on the show, and of course, that's going to kick off our weekly Cardinals win probability contest, and then we're going to wrap it up with the Suns and Mavs preview, and maybe we'll kick some Luka Doncic while he's down. But before we get to any and all of those things, Dylan, who powers the show?
We are powered by Sport Trade, and make sure you stick around for segment 2, as Keon mentioned. Sport Trade CEO Alex Kane will be joining us to give us the latest on Sport Trade to roll out this week's win probability contest on the Arizona Cardinals game. They are taking on the Rams this coming Sunday, and the prize for this contest is a $100 Amazon gift card and $50 in cash sent directly to your Sport Trade account for you to play some extra wagers with. So make sure you download Sport Trade on your smartphone, and you can use promo code 1580 to take advantage of their cashback promotion on the new account sign up. And with that being said, I'm going to just go ahead and just be really frank about this. We were unfortunately subjected to a abomination of a football game last night between the Seattle Seahawks and the Chicago Bears. There were less than 10 points scored. There were no touchdowns scored at all. It honestly was as bad as it sounds on TV, just a horrible product all around. And somehow, despite all of this, the Seattle Seahawks were victorious. So if you did follow the Beat the Book picks yesterday, unfortunately on football, it was pretty rough. The only thing that went our way was taking that alternate spread on the Seattle Seahawks, taking them down to 2.5 points. And there wasn't like a real analytical argument I could have made from this. It was just a gut feeling. I said it on the air yesterday. I had this weird feeling that this was not going to be some landslide of a blowout. It felt to me like it was going to be gritty, but like my picture of this was like 25-28.
Yeah. Or
31
17-14 even.
Sure.
Who would have guessed no touchdowns scored in this game? Because I wouldn't have guessed that. No.
Now, there literally is a prop bet that you can take on any given football game where you can bet on there being no touchdowns scored at all. Depending on the game, the price on this is going to vary, but generally I believe it's like somewhere in the neighborhood of 20-1 typically at a minimum. So if you had the foresight to, get on that prop, if you were able to win some bets on this game last night, if you took all the unders, send us your bets. Shoot us a text, 888-368-1580. We would love to, see what you want and shout it out. But the Seahawks, they were able to take care of business. So this does set the stage for a potential showdown next week with the Rams, assuming that the Arizona Cardinals can now help the Seahawks out a little bit and get a win in LA this coming Sunday, or Saturday, actually. We've got the special Saturday night slate of games for the NFL this week. And, I said this yesterday, I still feel the same way. The Arizona Cardinals, they will play some of their best football in the games that mean nothing to them. So I'm right now, the spread on that game, I believe it's like 6.5 favoring the Rams. I put actually on the Beat the Book site to go ahead and take an alternate spread on that game. Just push it up a point to 7.5. Give yourself, a 1 touchdown buffer on the Cardinals. But do not be shocked if you just see this complete 180 from Kyler Murray and you see this, like best end of the spectrum version of the Cardinals where, we give the Rams hell and we make that a pretty, compelling matchup.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly possible because we've talked about this a number of times about Kyler Murray. He's capable of playing like one of the best quarterbacks in football. And like you said, when the pressure is on, that's when Kyler seems to struggle the most. There is no pressure in this game. The Cardinals are eliminated from the postseason, and Kyler's kind of just, at this point, I don't know how aware of it that he is, but he is playing for his job to a certain degree. If any of the rumors are true about Kyler Murray and whether or not this team is willing to bring in a veteran quarterback to challenge him and make him really work for this, he's already auditioning for his job. So we may see a Kyler Murray where there isn't a pressure of having to win. You just have to put up big numbers. You just have to play a big game. I think he's capable of it, personally.
So that is definitely something that I will be watching this weekend. Now, going back to last night, it was kind of a rare circumstance where we had 2 weeknights where the NBA and the NFL were directly competing back to back. So, we talked a little bit about this, yesterday, just, recapping all the games that happened on Christmas Day. And the theme of that day was, well, these NFL games were one-sided. They weren't really great TV. NBA had a much more compelling product. Then you look at what happened last night, and we got more of the same. Now, this game wasn't, something where it was so one-sided, it was just out of hand, but there was just zero offense. And generally the games where there's zero offense, it doesn't make a very appealing TV product. Meanwhile, on the NBA side, there were 9 games that happened in the NBA last night, and 7 of them saw fourth quarter rallies that, made for really exciting finishes. And, if you happen to be watching, you'd have to have, NBA League Pass or some other means to see this. But the Atlanta Hawks last night, they were down 20 points coming into the fourth quarter, had a huge rally, scored 50 points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat the Chicago Bulls at home. If you happen to follow that Trae Young 12-plus assists pick yesterday, that one hit. That was a really great one to see. Keon, I was texting you about this yesterday. Your Wizards, man, they had a really thrilling finish against the Hornets. Jordan Poole, he had a very nice game-winning shot.
Yeah, I saw
three-pointer.
Unbelievable. And I wish that on the rest of the Wizards schedule, it was just the Hornets for the remaining games of the season, because for whatever reason, that's the only team in basketball that the Washington Wizards can beat. But it always makes for a really good game. Neither of these teams really plays defense particularly well. Both of them have guys who are willing to just shoot the basketball. LaMelo Ball for the Hornets, but honestly, like a lot of the Hornets are willing to shoot the basketball a ton. And then Washington, like they're willing to let it fly.
Well, and that particular matchup to me is just like a player prop betting dream. So, for example, I mean, pretty much. I mean, LaMelo Ball, I had him for 30 plus yesterday. That was one of the Beat the Book picks. He had 31 by the end of the third quarter. And
on a night where you could argue he didn't shoot well.
No, I mean, he couldn't score a point in the fourth quarter, and that contributed to the Hornets blowing their lead and, losing the game. So, just something to keep in mind. There's going to be more matchups of the Wizards and the Hornets going forward. But the NBA, if you've been, kind of keeping away from it, I would not recommend that. There's been some really exciting stuff going on in the league, particularly over the last week.
Well, if you were tailing beat the book picks last night on NBA, you had a good time. If you were Baker's cocky hens, maybe not so much. He said, "I'm sick after my live bet and cash out last night. Pistons money line for $5, and I cashed out when they got within 5 for $9.
Oh,
Would have
no.
paid 70."
You know what's hilarious? I was looking at that game during the third quarter. The Pistons, I believe, were down double digits at the time, and they've been playing like really well lately. It's not being talked about that much. They've been very competitive. They beat the Lakers back to back. They beat the Suns. So in this game, I don't know if you actually saw this, Keon. The Pistons were down 3, and they had the ball. Time's running out. And Jaden Ivey hit a 3-point shot from the corner and got fouled like as time expired. So he basically had a 4-point play, a game-winning 4-point play for the Pistons to come back and beat the Kings in Sacramento. So Baker's cocky hens, man, I feel for you there.
That's one of those, man. If you have a Sport Trade account, you can partial cash out and take some of the money so you have some gain. But if you think that it might play a little longer, maybe leave some in there, because no one else is offering that. Only Sport Trade does, and that is the reason why we push them so hard. It's because for moments exactly like that. Because who hasn't been burned by that? And then Sir Drives a lot already early with his Cardinals win probability pick. So I've got you down, sir. You are not a believer this week, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
No, but that does remind me, if you already know how the win probability contest works, you are free to go ahead and text in your submission, 888-368-1580. Let us know what you think the win probability is going to be for the Arizona Cardinals at halftime of their game against the Rams this coming Sunday. If you want a little refresher on the full rules of the contest, Alex Kane is going to join us in the next segment and go through all that stuff. So, one thing that I did want to spend a little bit of time going through, and particularly with you, Keon, because you are very much our college football expert here at CRC Broadcasting. We are finally getting into really the meat and potatoes of these college bowl games that are going on. They've been going on, but, we get like 1 or 2 like every single day. Tomorrow's going to be like the day where it's like, okay, we're going to get like 10 of these suckers in.
Because they know they're like, now you're home. You're not worried about Christmas. You can focus on football and not your family, as people do in December. So I do think that we're going to get a bunch of great games tomorrow, some very, very fun ones, and some stuff that might be useful for you to bet on. One of the games that I've been looking out for is Miami and Iowa State. I do think that there are a couple of teams here that kind of want to show that like we could have gone to the college football playoff. We could have made some noise. Like Iowa State, if they'd have won it, they would have been in there. ASU would not have been. ASU beat them. And then Miami, they tripped and fell at the end as well. So now they have an opportunity here to show what they could have done. There are a lot of players that could be taking this off, getting ready for the NFL draft. There are a lot of players who could be in the transfer portal, but that's not what's happening in this game. Cam Ward will be playing in the game. And I think that Miami is going to do what they do best when Cam Ward is under center, which is score a lot of points, push the ball downfield. They will also be doing what they're good at, which is giving up points. They get scored on a lot. That's one reason why a team with an offense as good as theirs is not in the playoff. It's defense. They don't really play any. Iowa State has a couple of 1,000-yard receivers running out there. I think you take the over in this game because Miami is going to give up points, but they're also going to, give as good as they get. I like Colorado versus BYU in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Colorado, I'm taking them on the money line. I just like the way that Coach Prime has these guys playing right now. I do think that they believe in him. This is another team where you could have a bunch of guys taking the time off. You could have a bunch of guys putting themselves in the transfer portal, but that's not necessarily what's happening. Coach Prime has gotten everybody on the same page, and they're playing really well.
And Colorado took out record insurance policies on Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders to give them that security of, you guys don't need to go out there and hold back.
Yeah, if you go out there and play your game, if you get hurt, trust me, you're going to be financially taken care of. And, I think that maybe there might be some falling of draft stock if either of those guys gets hurt, but I don't think it's going to be so bad that they won't wind up in the league unless it's the nightmare injury of all nightmare injuries. And I just think that they're just physically gifted and they are very confident in their abilities to play. I don't think that that's what's going to go down for them. And I just like the locker room for Colorado at the beginning of the season. And I hated everything about it, but the way that they have put themselves forward recently, there's a lot of unity on that team in a way that you usually don't get for a lot of these teams during bowl season. Next game that I like is Connecticut versus North Carolina. I'm taking North Carolina on the money line because I don't know that there's a more motivated group of people in all of college football than North Carolina Tar Heels football players. You have the greatest football coach in NFL history coming to coach at your school. And if you show out, if you play well, you're going to be in his good graces. And it's not because Bill Belichick's going to be sitting there coaching. He's not. It's not because he's even going to be in attendance watching. He will be, but that's not what it is. There are guys on that North Carolina coaching staff right now that Bill's going to keep. He's already said it, that there are a number of players and players and a number of assistants that he likes. They're staying. So these are the guys that are going to, if you impress them, they're going to be able to put in a good word for Bill Belichick. I don't know how Bill's going to do as North Carolina head coach, but I do think that if you wanted to go to North Carolina and you have an opportunity to be coached by a guy who's won 6 Super Bowls, you go ahead and take that opportunity. And I think that they're going to play with their hair on fire for that chance. And then I believe that's the last one there. Yeah. So I just think that is the lay of the land in the college football picks there.
Well, there you have it. So that's our rundown on some of the college football bowl games that are going on. And we just wanted to shout out a couple of extra things. That Colorado Moneyline pick is on the Beat the Book post for today. If you want to check out what the rest of the recommended bets are for tonight and for Sunday, you can honestly just search in your browser, Beat the Book Fanatic, Beat the Book Dylan Cohen. The very first thing that pops up, it's going to be the Beat the Book website. You can also follow me on Instagram. The handle is at Beat the Book Fanatic, all spelled out. If you hit the link in the bio, that'll take you right to the Beat the Book site so you can see what those bets are. Now, there's one other big opportunity as far as betting goes for this weekend. This one is actually within the NFL, and it's a player prop bet that I do have posted on the Beat the Book post for today. But this deserves some special attention because there's just a lot of incentive going into it right now for this particular player to have a pretty productive day on Sunday. And who I'm talking about is Saquon Barkley. He is on the verge of breaking the single season rushing yards record for a running back in the NFL. And in order to break that record, he needs to get another 268 rushing yards over his next 2 games. That would normally be a pretty tall task for most running backs in the league. Saquon Barkley is not most running backs. He is unique. He is a freak of nature, and he is already rushed for over 200 yards in a single game. Now, I'm not saying that because I think he's going to get 200 rushing yards in his game this coming Sunday, but the stars are aligning here in a number of ways. First and foremost, the Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys at home. And what do we know about the Dallas Cowboys? They have one of the absolute worst rushing defenses in all of the NFL. Now, Saquon Barkley has already played Dallas one time this season. He didn't have a particularly big rushing game. I believe he only rushed for like 65 yards, somewhere in that neighborhood. But this is going to be a different circumstance because the Eagles right now are missing their starting quarterback. Jalen Hurts is not going to be playing. He's still out in the concussion protocol. So you've got Kenny Pickett being the guy that's going to have to get you through the day and try and help you get a win. And, you know, Kenny Pickett is a serviceable quarterback, but he's no Jalen Hurts. And this is going to be a game for Philadelphia where, you know, they're just doing what they need to do to get the win. You don't want to, you know, really overextend yourself. You need to prepare for this playoff run. But at the same time, you know, you are aware of what Saquon's done this season. You're aware of how close he is to breaking this record and making history. And that's a pretty hefty incentive. That's something that I would expect the Eagles as an organization to respect. And as far as Saquon goes, I would absolutely expect him to, you know, want this. You know, this isn't going to be something where, for the better of the team, I'm just like hardly going to play these next 2 games because, we want to, be as focused and healthy as possible for the postseason. Saquon Barkley has a real chance to do something truly historic in the NFL, and it would be foolish to doubt his desire to accomplish it and his ability to accomplish it. So you take a look at Saquon Barkley's rushing yards line for this coming Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys, and it's currently sitting at 110.5. And, if I'm Saquon, that number of what I need to get in that game on Sunday, it's 134, because that is halfway to breaking the record. I think he's honestly probably going to get more than 134, but at the very least, one of your bets that you should be thinking about making for this coming weekend would be to count on Saquon Barkley to hit the over. And it looks like that line has moved up slightly. I just pulled it up on FanDuel. It's currently 111.5 over under for rushing yards on Saquon Barkley. Keon, what kind of production do you think Saquon's going to have this coming Sunday?
I agree with you. I think it's going to be high production. I think that the stars have all aligned here for what Saquon wants to do. The Cowboys are bad at stopping the run. They've been like a top 5 team for the last 3 weeks, but go look at the teams they played in the last 3 weeks. Those aren't running teams. Those are bad teams running the football. Overall, the trend is that the Cowboys suck at stopping the run. Saquon is the best running back they've seen in maybe 2 months. That's how good he is. So I think he's going to have no problem against this Cowboys defense. I think the Eagles want this record for him, so they're going to feed him the rock. I think he wants this record, so he'll be extra motivated when he has the football. And I think just having Kenny Pickett out there lends itself to you giving the ball to Saquon a lot too, because you're not going to trust Kenny Pickett to really go out there and make plays. We saw it when they played against Washington. Kenny Pickett was a little bit apprehensive to make the kinds of throws I think Jalen would have tried to deliver on. Kenny doesn't have the confidence that Jalen does, and I don't think the team has the confidence in Kenny. I think they get Jalen the ball early, often, and don't let the Eagles get a lead early, because I think they run the ball from that point to the end of the game. I don't even think how many passing plays do I think Kenny Pickett has? Maybe 20, maybe. I think they're running the ball all day.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Micah Parsons just praying Kenny Pickett just throws it, and every time, like, the best thing that the Eagles are going to be able to do to combat that is just give it to Saquon. Just give it to Saquon. Trust in the man. And look, I mean, if you want to go as far as maybe laddering Saquon Barkley's alternate rushing yards, for him to get 200 plus rushing yards, that is paying 14 to 1 right now on FanDuel. That's honestly not that far fetched.
It's just not crazy. Yeah.
If you want to take that down to 175, that's 7.5 to 1. It's pretty good return. So, these are definitely things I wanted to shout out for the fourth dimension here when you're thinking about your bets for football Sunday, because to me, that has to be one of the absolute best opportunities to try and beat the book this weekend. So, with that being said, Keon, I know we're up against a break here. We got to get Alex into the program. So you are listening to Beat the Book here on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Sports bettors, we've all been there. You have a live bet lined up. You check the odds one more time, place the bet only to see the bet delayed by the spinny wheel, line move, and your bet rejected. My name's Alex Kane, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sporttrade, Arizona's newest sports betting app. At the core of the Sporttrade offering is our probability-based odds. In other words, the Cardinals may be offered at 55% odds to win, a lot simpler than minus 125. Place your bet at 55% odds, and as your win probability changes, so does the value of your bet, giving you the ability to cash out with total control. And the best part, no spinny wheels. Live bets on Sporttrade are instantly accepted. Download Sporttrade on your iPhone today and use code 1580 to earn 10% cash back on every bet in your first week. Terms apply.
Sporttrade is regulated by the Arizona Department of Gaming. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients.
payments. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-627-7754. 800-627-7754. 800-627-7754.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's fall football season, and Kasai Japanese Steakhouse is doubling down, now with 2 Valley locations. When it comes to Asian cuisine, no one does it better and more authentic than Kasai, where talented Teppan chefs create the food, the fire, and the fun of teppanyaki. Kasai Japanese Steakhouse isn't just dinner, it's dinnertainment. A memorable dining experience where a delicious 7-course meal is paired right at your table with flair. It's a perfect choice for celebrations, date nights, or a night on the town. Choose from over 30 different items and combinations of teppanyaki, Asian fusion, and innovative sushi. Happy hour is always on fire and offered daily with specials on their Asian-inspired comfort food like Korean steak tacos, Mongolian barbecue ribs, and signature Wagyu beef sliders. Always a memorable dinner, or catch the game and a bite at the bar at Kasai. Now at 2 locations, Scottsdale Road in Thunderbird and in Peoria at the 101 in Northern. Go to KasaiTeppan.com. That's Kasai Teppan.com, or search Kasai on your mobile phone.
This is Brad Musburger. Don't miss Betting Across America, Saturdays at 11 a.m. right here on Arizona Sports Betting Station, 1580 and 99.3, The Fanatic.
Welcome back. You're listening to Beat the Book here on 1580 The Fanatic. I am your host, Dylan Cohen, and my co-host, Keon Rose, is in the control room, and you are on the text line, 888-368-1580. Joining us now is Alex Kane. He is the CEO of Sporttrade, and Alex is here to help roll out the next Sporttrade weekly implied probability contest. Alex, how's it going, man? How are you?
What's up, guys? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Really, really excited for this Cardinals game this weekend. Just would love to see us be able to play spoiler to the LA Rams after the Seahawks were able to win last night. And since we've been doing the Sporttrade win probability contest, we've been building a following. I mean, week after week, we're getting more and more people participating. It's really awesome to see. So, for anyone that may be new to the show right now or just hasn't been able to get involved in this yet, Alex, would you mind just talking about, what is this Sporttrade win probability contest? How does it work? What are the rules? Who can participate? And of course, what are the prizes if you win?
Absolutely. Well, Sporttrade presents Arizonans with an entirely new way to sports bet. And the crux of it is we present the odds as probabilities. And the reason we do that is I think it's a lot simpler to tell you that the Cardinals are at 27% odds to beat the Rams, as opposed to saying the Cardinals are plus 265. Now, those two things are one and the same. But the reason we really like probabilities is A, it's a lot simpler to understand, and B, it gets you in a mindset of buy low, sell high. And the idea is as the game plays out, the Sporttrade marketplace will constantly update the win probability or the price of the Cardinals based on new information. So they go and score a touchdown. They're now up 7-0. They go from 27% chance to win the game, according to the market, to maybe a 40% chance to win the game. And you're able to sell out. So you bought at 27, you sold at 40, you're out, you made a profit, you don't care what happens in the game. The idea behind the Sporttrade contest is, another way of starting to think about where do I think this game is going to go? Less, do I think the Cardinals are going to win or lose? And more, where will they be at halftime? And that's precisely what the competition is. So you submit a guess, and the guess that you're submitting is trying to get as close to, without going over, the observed win probability of the Cardinals on Sporttrade at halftime. So if they're up 14-0, they're maybe at a 70% chance to win. And if you guess 68% chance, and that's the closest, you will have won because you're the closest to 70, which is the probability on Sporttrade, let's say, at halftime of the Cardinals to win without having gone over. Everyone gets one guess. It's free to guess. And the winner gets a $100 Amazon gift card sent digitally directly to them. And $50, you don't even need a Sporttrade account to get started. $50 in your Sporttrade account so that you can try this.
So there you have it. Those are the rules. And, right now on Sporttrade, if you pull up the Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams game for this coming Saturday, the Cardinals are currently priced at 27% win probability to ultimately win that game. So, when you're thinking about, what number you're going to submit for this, obviously it cannot be 0 and it cannot be 100 because you're trying to predict what this probability is going to be halfway through the game. So since the game isn't over, it can't be 100, it can't be 0. But, if the Cardinals are starting at 27%, they could potentially be leading at halftime and they still might be priced under 50%. Or like Alex said, maybe they're, kind of dominating things. Maybe they're up 2 scores and then perhaps that win probability is over 50%. So, these are the kinds of things you have to think about. I'm just going to shout this out and, the Fourth Dimension can do whatever they want with it. But the last time the Cardinals played the Rams, this was all the way back in week 3. The Cardinals were, week 2. The Cardinals were winning at halftime 24-3. So that's something to think about there. Keon,
something to think about. Also something to think about. We don't have we have quite a few submissions already. Not a whole lot of believers in the Cardinals this week. I'm not going to give anybody's picks away. It's low. So just putting that out there.
I look, it does track just based on kind of where things are right now, with the Cardinals in the season. But the people that have had the most success winning this implied probability contest, it's the people that differentiate, that really think outside of the box. So these are the things that you want to consider when you're, trying to decide what that number is going to be that you're going to submit to try and win the Sporttrade win probability contest. Now, Alex, I was also hoping you could talk about some of the other promotions you guys have going on, because when you sign up for Sporttrade, there's a promotion to give you some extra cash back. And then you guys are also doing something special too for the month of December. Would you mind talking about some of those things?
Totally. So all new players create an account. Every single bet you place in your first week, you earn 10% cash back on each bet, win or lose. And Sporttrade does allow you to, if you just want to bet, Cardinals money line and let it ride, or you want to bet, Cooper Kupp to score a touchdown and let it ride, or you want to bet, over 8.5 points in the first quarter of the Rams Cardinals game and let it ride. You can do that. And that's perfectly acceptable. What you can't do on other venues that you can do on Sporttrade is you can really kind of trade the game. And you can do this with anything. You can do it with money line, spread, totals, player props. You can bet. If you're looking for something a bit more volatile, you could say, all right, well, I'll buy the Cardinals at 38% to win the first quarter, because if they get the ball and they just even sort of start driving, eating up clock, there's just not enough time maybe for the Rams to score enough that maybe that probability is going to go from 38% for the Cardinals to win the first quarter to 50%. And that's where our second promo comes in. If you buy low and then sell high, we show you, hey, you made a profit of X. So if you put $10 in, let's say, in the Cardinals to win the game at 27%, and they score a touchdown, then they go to 45%, and you sell your $10 for, let's say, $18, you'll have made a profit of 8. We show you that right on the app. We're the only app that shows you a P&L of your profit, or of your cash out, rather. We will double that amount for every player, new and existing, for your first 5 profitable cash outs. So buy low, and then sell high, and receive the amount that you've made in profit up to $10, up to 5 times, put in your account directly the next day. So that's a way to get started. If you're brand new and you're listening to this, that's an opportunity for you to earn not $350 of bonus funds, $350 of withdrawable cash. Sporttrade has 0 playthrough requirement. These aren't free bet credits. They're not bet tokens. If you start with $100, you have the way to build that up to $450 of withdrawable cash by earning 10% cash back on every single bet, plus doubling the cash out of your first 5 profitable cash outs up to $10 each.
So, what's funny is for the buy low, sell high promotion. Alex, you know that I'm a huge NBA guy. in the NBA last night, there were 9 games that went on, and 7 of them saw fourth quarter rallies where, teams were down and then came back on a furious, late game run. And it was really exciting to watch. But man, I mean, having the ability to just buy low, sell high, I mean, those were the perfect kind of games to be able to take advantage of something like that. So, that's what came to mind for me, when you're, talking about that promotion there. And then, like you said, the fact that you're getting rewarded actual cash. These aren't free bet tokens. They're not credits that, you're forced to have to actually make another bet with. If you just want to go ahead and experience Sport Trade, leverage the promotions, if you win and you get this money back, that is your cash to go ahead and pull out. And honestly, that's very unique because that's really not how any other sports book in Arizona approaches their promotions. So there's absolutely some value in that. Now, I'm really curious, Alex. We had a pretty disappointing Thursday night football game last night, and I kind of feel like I might know the answer to this already, but maybe you know something that I don't. How did the public do yesterday as far as their bets on Thursday night football? Were there any success stories, or did just about everyone kind of get this thing wrong?
I think so. I'll read through some of our biggest bets. We have this live on the iOS app now. You can also check us out on X at Sport Trade Now, or if you type in just on Google Sport Trade Whale Tracker, we will tweet out all the big plays that happen on Sport Trade. So I'm just looking at some of the ones from last night. We have someone bet $16,000 on over 41.5. Ouch. That wasn't even close. So that was a loser. We had a player bet $18,000 on Seahawks minus 5.5 at 46%. That was a loser. We had a player put 10 grand on the Seahawks to win at 67%. That was a winner. We also had a player, I want to say, here it is. We had a player put $33,000 on Seahawks plus 2.5 points. That was a winner. So mixed bag. Also see a Bears money line. Someone went pregame, went big, but $5,000 on the Bears at 34%. Maybe that player traded out. I'd have to check. That would have been plenty of times where the Bears were trading above 34%. If the player held, the player got nothing. So lots of big action for the game. I think the public ended up doing okay because there was a lot of big money on the Seahawks there. I think the biggest one was that $33,000 bet on Seahawks plus 2.5.
So, I put out the picks for the Beat the Book show, and I had 5 of them yesterday for that game. And the gist, my expectation was that, we were going to see at least some more offensive production, particularly from Jackson Smith-Jigba. All those things just did not happen. I recommended taking the over. That was bad. But the one thing, and I didn't really have an analytical argument for this. I just kind of had this gut feeling, I don't like that 3.5 spread on the Seahawks. Take it down to 2.5. They're going to need it. So I felt good about putting that one out there. But, that was just one of those games where I don't think anyone could have seen that coming. So glad to hear that there were some big winners there. I was a little concerned it was going to be something that was going to be a lot more one-sided. So, with that being said, I wanted to get your input on the ASU Sun Devils, because this is going to be the last time that you're going to be on Beat the Book before the Peach Bowl happens this coming Wednesday. And this game, quite frankly, is the biggest football game in the history of Arizona State University. They're taking on Texas for the opportunity to advance to the college football playoff semifinal. And we spoke about where the line was on this game when you were on Beat the Book last week. And if my memory is right, the win probability as of a week ago for ASU to win the game money line, it was like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15%.
Exactly right.
So where do things stand right now for ASU on Sport Trade?
ASU has gone from 15% up to 18% on the money line. Arizona State plus 13.5 points. You could have gotten for as low as 46%. Now trading at 50% chance. So there is always going to be opportunities, especially on Sport Trade, because our markets are so tight. What do I mean by tight? Tight meaning the gap between the price on either side is so tight. You only need such a small movement in order to profit versus on a sports book. Have we ever all noticed that the second you place your $10 bet, the cash out opportunity is 7. That's showing you that the spread is quite wide, that you need a quite large move in the odds in order to cash out for a profit. On Sporttrade, the opposite is true. Very tight markets. You could have bought Arizona State plus 13.5 at 46% a week ago, or even 5 days ago, and on the 22nd. And now they're offered at 50%. So you could have made that sort of money before the game has even started. And we see players do that all the time. And that really is the beauty of the app, right? It's not just about holding your bet to the end of the game. It's about saying, well, wait a minute, if I have an app that always gives me a very fair value, I can start to directionally make bets that maybe I don't think are going to win, but I think are going to appreciate in value over time. And I know, and I have the confidence as a player to know that Sporttrade is going to give me a fair price on the other side. And that's a very, very big difference between us and the sports book.
So think about that. I mean, a week ago, you could have put $100, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, on ASU money line. They're priced at 15% win probability. Nothing has transpired over the last week. This game has not been played yet. And then all of a sudden, just based upon, the public's expectations and where the movement of the money is going, all of a sudden this win probability has gone up. And you, in theory, could then turn around and you can profit off of, just the movement in the odds. And then because of this, buy low, sell high promotion you got going on, you could then take advantage of that and potentially cash out. And again, like, you haven't sweated anything. I mean, this game hasn't started. This is really where you're getting into, some unique kind of special aspects that, again, I mean, no other sports book in Arizona offers you the ability to do this kind of a thing. So just really, really awesome, potential with, leveraging Sporttrade. That truly is the Sporttrade advantage. Alex, thank you so much for just spending another Friday with us. We always like to chat with you, and hope you have a wonderful new year. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you again next week.
Awesome, guys. Happy New Year. Go Sun Devils.
Go Sun Devils. That's right. So there you have it. That was Alex Kane. He is the CEO of Sporttrade. He just rolled out the next weekly win probability contest on the Arizona Cardinals and LA Rams game this coming Saturday night. You are free to go ahead and text us your submissions for the contest, 888-368-1580. You need to guess what the win probability is going to be for the Cardinals at halftime of the game on Saturday against the Rams. And if you go over what the actual probability is, you do not win. We go by Price is Right rules. If you have won this contest in the past, you can still win again. You are totally fine to go ahead and send in a submission. And with that being said, we need to get to a break here and pay some bills. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little Phoenix Suns. We've got a showdown against the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to talk a little Luka Doncic. He's going to be missing quite some time. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. I think there's a little bit more that needs to be said. So stick around. You're listening to Beat the Book here on 1580 The Fanatic.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
Live and local.
Hey guys, Jeffrey O'Brien here. Did you know Harman Solar has gone super high tech? There's an amazing tool at harmansolar.com that'll give you an instant ballpark solar estimate using satellites from space. You just type in a little information, and within seconds, you'll have an idea of just how little money it takes to save big on that monthly electric bill. I did it, and within seconds, they measured my roof and calculated my savings. It's very impressive. Go to harmansolar.com and give it a try yourself. That's harmansolar.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The GCU men's basketball squad is coming off their winningest season in 35 years, their third trip to the NCAA tournament in 4 years, and their first ever NCAA tournament victory. Returning 4 of their 5 starters in Ray Harrison, Colin Moore, Duke Brennan, and reigning WAC Player of the Year, Tyon Grant Foster, the Lopes look to defend their WAC titles and make a run to the Sweet 16. With a non-conference slate including Stanford, Georgia, and crosstown rival Arizona State, you won't want to miss a moment of the action. So join me, Michael Potter, and Lopes insider Paul Coro all season long right here on the home of the Lopes, 1580 The Fanatic. Lopes up.
In most countries of the world, Porte means door. United Porte Custom Doors, located in the Scottsdale Airport Design District, is now open with over 40,000 European doors, all in stock, ready for delivery, and at wholesale prices. Designers, contractors, builders, and yes, you. Come see our showroom on Greenway Hayden Loop. That's United Porte, Porte. Stop by to see and feel the quality at United Porte Custom Doors. Find us at uporte.com. That's uporte.com.
This holiday season, make sure your plans include a sober ride home. Before the party starts, make sure you have a safe way home. Call a sober friend, taxi, or rideshare, because buzz driving is still drunk driving, and drunk driving can land you in serious trouble. Don't ruin the holidays. Plan ahead and get home safe to avoid a DUI. For more information, visit drivesober.az.gov. This message is sponsored by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Your home for sports.
1580 and 99.3 The Fanatic.
And we're about to wrap up the show here. We're going to talk some NBA basketball. Los Suns versus Los Mavs. We'll talk about that in just a second, but taking a quick look at the text line. Strangely quiet, the text line. And then I refreshed it at the commercial break. And we got a question from Baker's Cocky Hens, who wants to know when Sport Trade will have props available. And it's kind of a complicated answer for that question. So I'll hand it over to Dylan.
So, well, and I guess I just kind of need a little bit of clarity from Baker's Cocky Hens, because if he's talking about college sports, like college player props, those won't ever be on Sport Trade because Arizona doesn't allow betting on NCAA athletes. So to be able to bet on college player props, or that's college football, college basketball, it actually boils down to the state that you're playing in. So Arizona does not allow it. There are other states that do. Now, there is a way to kind of sidestep that. And basically, you would have to use like a daily fantasy platform like Prize Picks. That's something where, you know, in Arizona, if you're really looking to bet on college player props of any kind, that would be the avenue you would have to go down to be able to play on those things. If he's talking about other sport player props, that's what I wanted to clarify on that. But, you know, with that being said, got a big showdown against our rivals, the Dallas Mavericks. And this is an interesting kind of version of this matchup. I feel like it's one we really haven't seen a whole lot because the Suns are obviously without Devin Booker. But if you didn't happen to catch the Christmas Day Dallas Mavericks game, Luka Doncic left that game due to a calf injury. And it was really concerning, like when it happened, because it was totally non-contact. He was not touched. I mean, the man was literally walking on the court. He stepped wrong. He didn't roll his ankle when he stepped wrong. Like he just stepped wrong. Like it. I mean, you watch this thing and you're like well, you go, really? You're 25 years old. I mean, this is like something that happens to 45-year-olds, not 25-year-olds.
Yeah,
like,
and even then, I mean, look how many players are older than Luka and not having this happen to them. I mean, say whatever you want about how injury prone Anthony Davis is. Anthony Davis usually gets injured in the act of playing basketball, not walking, which is a Major League Baseball pitcher injury in the offseason. It's usually some pitchers up to shenanigans and then like they just get seriously injured doing the dumbest thing. That's what happened to him.
So the news broke. I think this actually came out like late last night. The Dallas Mavericks did kind of put it out there that they were expecting Luka to be gone for a while. Well, now the new timeline is he's going to be out at least a month. And after one full month, we're going to go back and we're going to reevaluate. So it's not even something where he's coming back in a month. They're just giving him now a month off because, and I had a whole rant on this yesterday, Luka seemingly is just not doing the kind of things he needs to do in the offseason to prepare himself for an 82 game regular NBA season plus the postseason. And yeah, he went on a long postseason run, last year. I get it. He even tried to help Team Slovenia make the Olympics. But my suspicion with Luka Doncic is that the man just plays a lot of scrimmage, does a lot of, just literally playing basketball, which is great. But there's a whole strength and conditioning and investment in yourself that also needs to be made, that if you want to take your career to the next level and you want to be the true next face of the NBA, the next Kevin Durant, the next LeBron James, the next Stephen Curry, you have to be doing these things in the offseason. And for Luka to not be available now for an entire month, who knows where this Mavericks team is going to stand 1 month from now. I mean, this Western Conference is not easy.
Yeah, we have no idea. And I do think it's important to Luka to be the face of the league. Only there's this guy in Minnesota who seems to be taking that from you as we speak. So if you really want this, you need to get that thing sorted out right now, because Anthony Edwards will be the face of the NBA and not you if you don't figure it out. It's just one of those things that's very disappointing to see. Because everybody knows this at every level of the sport. I mean, there's a reason why college football programs spend thousands upon hundreds of thousands on strength and conditioning. Like, hiring a strength and conditioning coach that's good is a good chunk of your budget.
Well, and look at what this is now costing the Mavericks and Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, since his second year in the NBA, made an all-NBA team every single season. Now that he is going to miss a full month, he is more than likely going to miss enough games to not meet the 65-game threshold to be eligible for an all-NBA award. So he is now officially essentially disqualified from being able to win that, in addition to an MVP, which he was favored to win as far as the betting markets go, coming into the season. So, if we're going to look at the actual matchup tonight between the Mavericks and the Suns, no Devin Booker, no Luka Doncic. The stage is set for a duel between Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, the former Nets teammates that almost made it work in Brooklyn, I guess is kind of a way you can put it. It's not the first time these guys have played against each other since, they were teammates in New York. But this is probably going to be the first time where they're, going to play each other, without their bigger stars next to them. So, they are kind of the next men up to be able to lead their respective teams. So, Suns coming off a, impressive Christmas Day victory, and, we talk about the inconsistencies with the Cardinals. We're almost kind of seeing that with the Phoenix Suns.
So it's a little different with the Suns, right? Because it's mostly injury related, and the fact that they can't ever seem to be healthy, where the Cardinals are fine health-wise. They just don't play consistent football.
You just get two completely different versions. So it seems like the version of the Suns that we are set to get tonight is going to be similar to the most recent game that they played. That is certainly the way that I would be looking to bet in this matchup. So you take a look at the line right now for Suns and Mavericks, and the let's see, I'm pulling this up right now. The Suns are a 1.5 point favorite currently on FanDuel, -118 on the money line. That is a recommended pick on the Beat the Book picks for today. I would also recommend playing Kevin Durant's points. He just came off a Christmas Day game where he scored 27 points, and it was actually a pretty lousy shooting performance. So, if you're looking at what he's going to do tonight against Kyrie, if we're counting on him shooting average, at least, he should be good for, much more than 27. I recommended to be conservative, taking him for 28 or more points. But quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if he had 30, if he had 35. What I'm guessing we're going to see in this one is Durant being the primary scorer for the Suns and Kyrie being that primary guy for the Mavericks. So if you're looking to load up on, player props, points bets, those are going to be the two guys to back in this matchup. And then if you look at some of the other picks that I've got posted on Beat the Book, This is absolutely the time right now to be playing Victor Wembanyama props. Victor Wembanyama is currently in the midst of the absolute best basketball that he's ever played his entire life. His last 5 games, he has just been electric. He is blocking the ball at a ridiculous rate. He is scoring. There are a lot of different props you could consider for him. They're taking on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. The Nets are generally a smaller team. They don't have a very big, imposing center to counter Wemby with. So I would look to play Victor Wembanyama points. You can also look to take him for blocks. He should be good for at least 4 or more. And Keon, that's all I got.
So that'll do it for us. Let's take one last look at the text line because, boy, there are a couple of opinions floating out there. One, T-Licious says, not wishing injury on anyone, but I'm also not wishing that a-hole Doncic a speedy recovery. So there you have that. And then NFL Blitzer breaking some news, at least for us, said the Sacramento Kings just fired Mike Brown. That was about 10 minminutes ago.
Wow.
So Mike Brown out as head coach of the Sacramento Kings. If you want to get an update on some of the picks that Dylan's given out today, go to 1580thefanatic.com, click on the Beat the Book logo, see the post for today, or follow him on Instagram at Beat the Book Fanatic. We'll see you guys on Monday.
I'm Rhett Lewis with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Week 17 began Thursday night with the